Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So it's the 10th of June, 2024, Hillsborough, North Carolina, reading from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 52, text 16 to 17. We have that up. Bhagavanapi Govinda Upaye me kurudvaha Vaidarbim Bhishmakasutam Shriyo Matram Swayamvade Pramachya Tadasaragna Shaladvims Chaidya Pakshagan Pasyatam Sarvalokanam Tarkshaputra Sudam Iva. Bhagavan, the Supreme Lord, Api, indeed, Govinda, Krishna, Upayeme, married, Kuru Udvaha, O hero among the Kurus Parikshit, Vaidarbim, Rukmini, Bhishmaka Sutam, the daughter of King Bhishmaka, Shriyaha, of the goddess of fortune, Matram, the plenary portion, Swayamvare, by her own choice, Pramachya, subduing, Tarasa, by force, Rajnaha, kings, Shalva Adim, Shalva and others, Chaidya, of Shishupal, Pakshagan, the supporters, Pasyatam, as they looked on, Sarva, all, Lokanam, the people, Tarkshaputraha, the son of Tarksha, Garuda, Shudam, the nectar of heaven, Eva, as, BBT translation, O hero among the Kurus, the Supreme Lord himself, Govinda, married Bhishmaka's daughter, Vaidarbi, who was a direct expansion of the goddess of fortune. The Lord did this by her desire, and in the process he beat down Shalva and other kings who took Shishupal's side. Indeed, as everyone watched, Sri Krishna took Rukmini, just as Garuda boldly stole nectar from the demigods. BBT purport. Srila Jiva Goswami gives the following profound comments on these two verses. The word Shriyo Matram indicates that beautiful Rukmini is a direct expansion of the eternal goddess of fortune. Therefore, she is worthy to be the bride of the personality of Godhead. As stated in Brahma Samhita 556, Shriya Kanta Kanta Paramar Purusha. In the spiritual world, all the female lovers are goddesses of fortune, and the male lover is the supreme personality. Thus, Srila Jiva Goswami explains, Srimati Rukmini Devi is a plenary portion of Srimati Radharani. The Kartika Mahatya section of the Padma Purana states, Kaishore Gopya Kanyasta Yovane Raja Kanyaka. In childhood, Sri Krishna enjoyed with the daughters of cowherdmen, and in his adolescence, he enjoyed with the daughters of kings. Similarly, in the Skanda Purana, we find this statement, Rukmini Dwara Vatyam tu Radha Vrindavane Vare. Rukmini is in Dwarka what Radha is in the forest of Vrindavana. The term Swayamvare here means by one's own choice. So swa or swayam means one's own. Although the word often refers to a formal Vedic ceremony in which an aristocratic girl may select her own husband, here it indicates the informal and indeed unprecedented events surrounding Krishna's marriage to Rukmini. I don't know if they're actually unprecedented. Kidnapping was rather common in Kshatriya society. In fact, Sri Krishna and Srimati Rukmini chose each other because of their eternal, transcendental love. Bhagavan api Govinda upayeme kurudvaha vaidarbing bhishmakasutam shriyo matram swayamvare prataya tarsha ragna Shalvadimschai dipakshagan pasyatam sarvalokanam tarkshaputra sudam iva. O hero among the Kurus, the Supreme Lord himself, Govinda, married Bhishmaka's daughter, Vaidbharbi, who was a direct expansion of the goddess of fortune. The Lord did this by her desire, and in the process he beat down Shalva and other kings who took Shishupal's side. Indeed, as everyone watched, Sri Krishna took Rukmini, just as Garuda boldly stole nectar from the demigods. So, I'm going to read Srila Vaishnava Chakravarti Thakur has a short commentary. He says, Krishna married Rukmini, whose subtle, essential, and original form, Matram Shukshma Swarupam, is Lakshmi Shriyaha, just as sound is the subtle quality of ether, Tanmatra. Since Krishna is Swayam Bhagavan, the original personality of Godhead, it is only fitting that he married Rukmini, the original goddess of fortune. I'm going to just read some excerpts from the commentaries of Srila Sanatana Goswami and Srila Jiva Goswami, because the commentaries are very long. So I'm just going to read certain portions. I'm going to be kind of jumping around. So this is from Srila Sanatana Goswami. So you notice in the first line of the Sanskrit, it says Govinda, yeah? We can go up to the Sanskrit, Marsh. Can we scroll up to the Sanskrit? Okay. So Govinda can mean, Sanatana Goswami is saying Govinda can mean the earth, so that Krishna appeared on earth. But then he says Govinda can also mean the Lord of Gokula. Though he was saddened by separation from the gopis of Gokula, he married Rukmini. Why? He was endowed with all qualities such as compassion for his devotees. Right? And then he quotes Bhagavatam 10:52-43, so later on in this chapter, where Rukmini is writing, O lotus-eyed one, great souls like Shiva hanker to bathe in the dust of your lotus feet and thereby destroy their ignorance. If I cannot obtain your mercy, I shall simply give up my vital force, which will have become weak from the severe penances I will perform. Then, after hundreds of lifetimes of endeavor, I may obtain your mercy. That's actually a very important point that's discussed in Sri Manashiksha, this patience for birth after birth. On hearing of her misery, he became compassionate and became controlled by her bhakti. So, jumping a little forward in this commentary. Actually, Sukadev mentions this incident with lamentation, being angry out of affection for the Lord. So Sukadev Goswami doesn't like the fact that Krishna is marrying Rukmini. Govinda means he's dependent on the people of Gokula. He promised to return. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 10:41-17. He promised to fulfill the gopis' desires, 10:22-25, where he said he would marry the gopis. How could he marry anyone else? But he did. Why? He's independent, Bhagavan. Since he should not have done this, what use is his position as the controller? So here, Srila Sanatana Goswami is saying that Sukadeva Goswami is having this mood of affectionate anger towards Krishna. Actually, anger is one of the secondary rasas, and one form of this anger can be towards Krishna. So Krishna, but it's affectionate, loving anger. So Krishna, you promised to marry the gopis, you promised to return to Goloka, and here you are marrying Rukmini. What's the use of your being the supreme controller if you're doing something like this? So this is that Srila Sanatana Goswami is saying this. And then we're going to look at Srila Jiva Goswami. And again, I'm just reading sections. Or Govinda can mean the Lord of Gokula, who is feeling pain and separation from the gopis. Thus he shed pitiful tears and ordered Uddhava to go to Gokula. And then he quotes from Bhagavatam 10:46-3. All of those, he's quoting here, actually Bhagavatam 11:12-11. All those nights that the gopis spent with me, their most dearly beloved, in the land of Vrindavana while I herded the cows, seemed to them to pass in less than a moment. Bereft of my association, however, the gopis felt that those same nights were equal to a day of Brahma. Though he felt like this toward the gopis, he married Rukmini. Why? So here, Srila Jiva Goswami is giving a little different answer. So both Srila Sanatana Goswami and Srila Jiva Goswami are asking this question. If Krishna loved the gopis, why did he marry Rukmini? And Srila Sanatana Goswami, attributing this to the mood of Sukadeva Goswami, is saying he shouldn't have done this. And Srila Jiva Goswami is giving a different answer. He says, why? She was another form, Maitram, of a gopi, Shriya. The gopis are called Shri, as in the Brahma Samhita, Shriya Kanta Kanta Parama Purusha Kalpa Tadavo, which of course was quoted in the BBT purport. I worship this Goloka where there are limited gopis and their beloved Krishna, the supreme form of God, where the trees fulfill all desires. The gopis are superior to Lakshmi. I'm jumping a little bit further. As the Pandavas are the best among the Kurus, so the gopis are the best among all the Lakshmis. They are called Shri because of non-difference of tattva. Or Shri o Maitram can mean that Rukmini is an expansion of Radha, who is the chief gopi, which is why that's picked up in the BBT purport. Jumping a little further in Srila Jiva Goswami's commentary, he writes, according to the Lord's own words, he accepted her in this form to give happiness to the Yadavas. So there he's referring to Bhagavatam 10:45-23. So here we see that the love between Krishna and Rukmini is eternal. They always have this relationship, and yet by her own desire, Swayamvare, by her own desire, she's asking Krishna to marry her. And so we have this eternal relationship, yet it's the choice to have this relationship with Krishna. And the devotee is calling to Krishna, please accept me. And then Krishna accepts the devotees, just like Garuda stole the nectar from the demigods. And when he accepts a devotee, all the devotees are taken care of. It's not that because he accepts one devotee, other devotees are disadvantaged. It may appear like that. Like it may appear that because Krishna is marrying Rukmini, the gopis are put at a disadvantage. But that's not actually the case. So the first point is that this love always exists. Right? So this love between Lakshmi Narayan, Radha Krishna, Krishna and Rukmini, this always exists. We all have an eternal relationship with Krishna, not only Krishna and his eternal consort, but every living entity. And this fact is a very key part of Srila Prabhupada's preaching and a key part of the basis of Srila Prabhupada going all over the world and making devotees in all cultures and all nations. He brings this up over and over and over again, that we can take Krishna consciousness everywhere in the world because everyone has an eternal existing relationship with Krishna. Prabhupada would often say, we're not trying to convert Christians into Hindus. You can become Krishna conscious in Christianity. That's not what we're trying to do. What we're trying to do is revive everyone's eternal relationship with Krishna. And because everyone has that eternal relationship with Krishna, you don't have to be born a Hindu. You don't have to be born in India. This is not some kind of sectarian, ethnic religion. And there are some people, astonishingly enough to me, who say we don't have an eternal relationship with Krishna. And I've asked these people, I said that in what way are we persons? How are we persons if we don't have an eternal relationship with Krishna? Because Krishna defines Maya as that which appears to be of value but has no relationship to him. So if our only personality is in this life or in our other lifetimes, that's a personality of illusion. How then are we people? And when I kept challenging one of these individuals, finally he said, well, we're potentially persons. But no, we have an eternal specific relationship with Krishna. And that's not like our specific relationship in this body, this particular, as Prabhupada would say, our psychophysical nature. I mean, even in this life, we should understand our psychophysical nature and engage it in Krishna's service appropriately. But that's not our eternal situation. You know, and there are also many religions that teach like that teach whatever body you have in this life, that's going to be your eternal body and personality. Does anyone here want their current body and personality to be their eternal situation? Anybody? No, right? I was just having a discussion with someone yesterday about all the faults in my personality. I certainly don't want to have that eternally. You know, no way. Thank you very much, Krishna. You know, and people go from life after life. That's why we take birth after birth, because we keep thinking, let me adjust materially. Like that famous movie star, what's her name? Julia Roberts, who's become a Hindu. She calls herself a Hindu. She's actually taking initiation from some Vaishnava in Vrindavan. And she says, you know, in my next life, I don't want to be this very outgoing, front of the room, famous person. I want to be a quiet person in the back of the room in my next life. So that's, you know, our bodies, we're not satisfied with our bodies, we're not satisfied with our minds, with our personalities, but we have an eternal relationship with Krishna. It's just a question of it being revived. Now, I did find it interesting here that Srila Jiva Goswami is identifying Rukmini with Srimati Radharani, which is then picked up again by the disciples of Srila Prabhupada who commented in the BBT. However, we know in Lalita Madhava, Srila Rupa Goswami is identifying Rukmini with Chandravali. And if you look at Vidagdha Madhava, so I'm going to look first at Bhanu Swami's translation of Vidagdha Madhava, talking about the eternal love between Krishna and Chandravali. So Nandi, speaking with joy, why was Govardhan appointed by Kamsa to be in charge of the cows? That's Govardhan Malla, the husband of Chandravali, so-called husband. Not angry by the activities of Chandravali when she followed Krishna. Purnamasi, O daughter, proud because of his great royal lineage, Govardhan did not believe this. Nandi, how did Chandravali first meet Krishna? Purnamasi, O daughter, as an arranger, I had deep attachment for their meeting. My efforts only duplicated what already occurred. So she's saying, Purnamasi is saying, my trying to arrange the love between Chandravali and Krishna was only duplicating what already exists. And let me see if I did here what I wanted to do, which I might not have. Oh, I know where I put it. Thank you, Super Soul. Okay, then generally I prefer Bhanu Swami's translations to Kushakrata's, but I really like the way Kushakrata Prabhu translated this particular section. So here his translation is, Nandi, how did Krishna and Chandravali first meet? Purnamasi, daughter, when they first met, they fell deeply in love. For me to do anything more would be to crush what is already powder. So that's actually the literal translation, to crush what is already powder. So this concept that this relationship is existing eternally. It's already there. At the same time, we see that it seems to manifest at a certain point. Radharani falls in love with Krishna at a certain point. Rukmini falls in love with Krishna at a certain point. There seems to be a beginning. There seems to be a choice. And of course, we also have a choice. Many times when Srila Prabhupada describes our relationship with Krishna, he says we can have whatever relationship with Krishna we desire. And Prabhupada will sometimes list all of the rasas. He'll say, if you want, you can be a tree. If you want, you can be a bumblebee. If you want, you can be, one of Krishna's cows. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, who strongly identifies himself as Kamala Manjari, has a wonderful song where he talks about being one of Krishna's cows. If you like, you can be one of Krishna's friends. So that sounds to us, when we say it's my choice, it seems to us that there's a contradiction between I have an eternal relationship with Krishna, and yet it's my choice. This seems very strange to us. Let's think about our material personality in this life. Whatever kind of personality we have in this life, whether we're outgoing, whether we're reserved, whether we're fast-paced, whether we're slow-paced, right? Somebody was telling me, Urmila, you should be more slow-paced. It's like, okay, I'm kind of a Japanese bullet train, but, these are the results of our desires and activities in a previous life. Just like this movie star who says, next life I want to be a quiet, mousy little person. And because they're meditating like that, therefore they get a particular nature. But then in this life, we have this nature, and it's our nature. So we may think of choice like that as something changing that happens at a particular time because that's our experience materially. But the fact is that our eternal nature is eternal without beginning, and it is still our choice. And how those two things are there is inconceivable, because this is something that Prabhupada says in the spiritual world, there's no cause and effect. It's not like at one time I was a nothing, and then I made a choice. Oh, I want to be Krishna's flower, or oh, I want to be Krishna's cowherd boyfriend. And then after that, I became something. It's not some consecutive thing like that. Just like we hear here, it's Rukmini's choice, yet she has an eternal relationship with Krishna. And something is similar for the living entities. We are making a choice. I want to love Krishna in this way. I want to love Krishna in this way. And Srila Sanatana Goswami, in commenting when Lord Brahma sees all of the cowherd boys and calves that were actually Vishnu transform into Vishnu forms, he writes about that, how the Lord has unlimited qualities, and each of the unlimited jivas is attracted to a particular quality of the Lord. There's a particular way that we want to serve Krishna that's unique to us. Right? Srila Rupa Goswami describes in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu and Ujjvala Nilamani all the different categories in the different rasas, but not all, actually. He says, I can't describe all of them. They're unlimited. So although we have an eternal relationship with Krishna, this is not imposed upon us. Right? We know that not too long ago in society, that in every culture there were arranged marriages, where your parents just said, hey, this is who you're going to marry. And even now in some places, if you rebel against that, you may literally be killed. Oh, you've destroyed the honor of our family. Right? And this is why arranged marriages have gone out of style, because the parents impose something that their children didn't want. So we might think like that. Well, Krishna's just going to say, okay, you are become a peacock. Oh, I didn't want to be a peacock. I want to be a tree. I want to be a cowherd boy. Sorry, that's just what you are forever. And it's not like that. We are who we are because of our choice. Again, this is a very difficult thing to understand. It's one of those things that has to be actually realized. That as our eternal nature becomes manifest to us, then more and more we realize, oh, this is my choice. This is what I want to do. This is how I want to serve Krishna. And this is how I've always wanted to serve Krishna. And some people will say, well, that's just by association with others. But that's not true either. We have the examples in Chaitanya Charitamrita of associates of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu who were Ekanta Ram Bhaktas. I mean, there are devotees who are both in Ram Leela and Krishna Leela. There are devotees who are in Ram Leela, Krishna Leela, and Chaitanya Leela in different expansions. But there are some devotees, like Srila Bhaktisanta Saraswati Thakur says, that are only in a particular Leela, and some who are in multiple Leelas. You were talking the other day about Jambavan and Hanuman, right? And I was thinking about how Jambavan is in Dwarka Leela, where his daughter marries Krishna, and he's in Ram Leela. He exists in both Leelas. Yes, Rohini, who exists in Dwarka Leela and Vrindavan Leela. But we also have like the associates of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who are cowherd boys and also monkeys in Ram Leela. But you have some Ekanta Ram Bhaktas. They're just Ram Bhaktas, and they're in Mahaprabhu's Leela. And Mahaprabhu would go to some of them and say, why don't you worship Krishna? And some of them would go, oh yes, actually I want to be a Krishna Bhakta. That's really my choice. My worshiping Ram was a stage I was going through to become a Krishna Bhakta. And others of them said, like Murari Gupta, I can't do it. I'll have to die. Because to give up my devotion to Ram, how can I both follow your order and be who I am? I can't. So if I'm stuck between following your order to become something that I'm not and being what I am, I can't live anymore. Yeah? So that's not just by association. He's associating with so many Krishna bhaktas, but still he's a Ram bhakta. Or we have the situation with Hridaya Chaitanya, whose disciple Shamananda, he had been training him in the mood of a cowherd boy, and then Shamananda, no, I'm a gopi. So who we are is who we are. And it's very interesting, twice in Madhya Lila chapter 8, where Mahaprabhu is having his discussion with Ramananda Roya, twice Sri Ramananda Roy says, our particular relationship is what we want. It's what's ideal for us, that we can look, in one sense and say, this relationship is higher, this relationship is higher, this relationship, but that really doesn't exist for a particular jiva. For each jiva, their relationship is the highest for them. Their relationship is the most fulfilling. So we need to choose Krishna. We need to reach out and choose Krishna, like Rukmini's doing here. Although her relationship with Krishna is eternal, she still reaches out and chooses, I choose you, and I choose you over Shishupal. I choose you over these demons. Prabhupada says 24 hours, imperceptibly, Krishna's giving us a choice, and we have to make this choice. The fact that our relationship is eternal doesn't mean that we don't have to make the choice. Krishna, I choose you. I choose to chant my rounds, and I choose to chant my rounds with attention and love. I choose to chant my Gayatri with attention and love. I choose to worship my deities. I choose to come see Radha Golokananda for Mangalarti or whenever we come. I choose to do devotional service. I choose to eat food that's cooked by devotees and offered to Krishna. I choose to read Prabhupada's books. This is something that I'm doing not out of force and not because someone's telling me I have to and I should and I'm supposed to and I'm doing it with resentment, but I'm choosing to do these things. I'm saying, Krishna, I want you. I want to revive our eternal relationship. And so much so that Rukmini Devi, she's saying that I'll do austerities life after life. And this is one of the points Raghunath Das Goswami makes, to have patience. Not like, well, Krishna, I'll do a little, I met one person who had been in the movement for 10 years and then left. I was in Australia. And he was visiting the temple and he said, I did everything for 10 years and I still wasn't perfect. What's the point? But Rukmini's not saying that. She's saying, I'm going to do this life after life. And she's the supreme goddess of fortune. And she's saying like that. I'm just going to keep waiting for you and I'm going to keep choosing you. Then when we choose Krishna, then he'll be very heroic and rescue us. There's that painting Prabhupada directed of Krishna on the back of Garuda, right, lifting up the devotee. And of course, the wonderful thing about bhakti is that it is Krishna who saves us. We're not going to be saved by our own endeavors. I've been hearing Prabhupada, listening again to the Nectar of Devotion classes, and he's really contrasting bhakti with the other forms of yoga, karma yoga, jnana yoga, dhyan yoga, where one is trying to become elevated by one's own endeavor. But it's by Krishna's mercy. And the example given in today's verse was Krishna snatched up Rukmini just like what? Does anyone remember? Just like Garuda snatches the nectar from the demigods, right? And I'm thinking, okay, well, what is this pastime of Garuda? I know I've read about it. So it's interesting, in Bhagavatam 3.3.3, we have a very, very similar verse. I'll just read the translation. Attracted by the beauty and fortune of Rukmini, the daughter of King Bhishmaka, many great princes and kings assembled to marry her. But Lord Krishna, stepping over the other hopeful candidates, carried her away as his own share, as Garuda carried away nectar. So it's practically identical to today's verse, isn't it? It practically says just exactly the same thing. So now, where is this described? This is described in 3:19-14. Again, I'll just read the translation here. Hurled by the mighty demon with all his strength, the flying trident shone brightly in the sky. The personality of Godhead, however, tore it to pieces with his discus Sudarshana, which had a sharp-edged rim, even as Indra cut off a wing of Garuda. Srila Prabhupada's purport. The context of the reference given herein regarding Garuda and Indra is this. Once upon a time, Garuda, the carrier of the Lord, snatched away a nectar pot from the hands of the demigods in heaven in order to liberate his mother, Vinata, from the clutches of his stepmother, Kadru, the mother of the serpents. So there's dysfunctionality even in heavenly families. Definitely Kasyapa Muni's family has quite a bit of dysfunctionality. On hearing of this, Indra, the king of heaven, hurled his thunderbolt against Garuda. With a view to respect the infallibility of Indra's weapon, Garuda, although otherwise invincible, being the Lord's own mount, dropped one of his wings, which was shattered to pieces by the thunderbolt. The inhabitants of higher planets are so sensible that even in the process of fighting, they observe the preliminary rules and regulations of gentleness. In this case, Garuda wanted to show respect for Indra. Since he knew that Indra's weapon must destroy something, he offered his wing. So here we have that Garuda, in order to save his mother from the machinations of his stepmother and her snake children, he brought this pot of nectar. They said, we'll only release your mother if we get a pot of nectar. So he stole this nectar from Indra, who then attacked Garuda. So in a similar way, Krishna will be very heroic in saving us. Krishna will be very heroic in saving us. Just like Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes very heroically. He's doing civil disobedience against the Qazi. He's almost arrested by the Pathan soldiers. He's traveling by foot all over India. And then he's sending he's contravening the social customs, the contemporary social customs of his time by appointing Haridas Thakur as the Namacharya and Rupa and Sanatan as his main proponents of Krishna Bhakti. He's acting very heroically. And of course, he's sending his generals like Srila Prabhupada, like Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, Narottama Das Thakur, Srinivasacharya, who are also acting very heroically to act on Krishna's behalf to save us. And one of the ways that we can induce Krishna to heroically save us is to also act on Krishna's behalf and also go out and heroically save others. Now, when Krishna saves one devotee, when Krishna has his relationship with one devotee, this does not put the others at a disadvantage. Right? In the material world, there's limited resources. And so we're fighting over these limited resources. It's my piece of land. No, it's my piece of land. No, it's my piece of land. People are literally killing each other and killing each other's children over a little piece of land. Correct? This is like the big thing that's going on at any moment in the world. People are bombing each other. You know, I want this resource. No, I want this resource. And sometimes it's a teeny, teeny, tiny bit of land. Or like, you all remember the war in the Falkland Islands? Right? I mean, what use are the Falkland Islands? And the British are sending out their whole, fleet of boats to fight over these stupid little worthless pieces of land. So we're thinking like that. Well, if Krishna gives his love to this devotee, what will be left for me? I remember when I first read Krishna book, I thought all the positions are already taken. Where will there be for me? But it's not that by Krishna marrying Rukmini that he's diminishing his relationship with the gopis. Although in their ecstasy, Sukadev Goswami and Srila Sanatana Goswami are saying like that. How dare you marry Rukmini? You said you'd marry the gopis. You said you'd come back. What are you doing now pleasing the Yadavas in Mathura? But that's just loving, affectionate anger. And why is that? Because first of all, they're all expansions. So there's not some contradiction. And the other thing is that Krishna, of course, never leaves Vrindavan. He appears to leave Vrindavan, but he never leaves Vrindavan. He eternally has a relationship with all the gopis in Vrindavan. And even as Srila Jiva Goswami explains in Gopal Champu, he does marry the gopis. And they have that pastime happening in a portion of Vrindavan also eternally. So Krishna is able, just like when he marries, here we're leading up to Krishna marrying altogether 16,108 wives. And if an ordinary person did that, then most of those wives would be neglected, like happened with Chitraketu. But when Krishna does this, everybody is taken care of. Like as Srila Sanatana Goswami says in Brihad Bhagavatamrita, that each cowherd boy thinks, I am Krishna's favorite, and each cowherd boy is actually Krishna's favorite. Even every clump of grass, every flower, every bird, Krishna is interacting with each one of them, and each one of them is feeling, yes, Krishna is giving everything to me. So we looked at how our relationship with Krishna always exists, like this relationship between Krishna and Rukmini always exists. Yet at the same time, it is our choice, and we need to reach out and make that choice. When we do that, Krishna heroically saves us. And that Krishna is loving everyone, and Krishna, his relationship with everyone doesn't disadvantage anyone else. So questions, comments, corrections? Yes, Drista. So Drista said that Krishna consciousness is not sectarian, but if we don't have the knowledge, how are we going to choose Krishna? That's an excellent question. Certainly becoming Krishna conscious within a particular religion that doesn't have any information about the personality of Godhead is much more difficult. Therefore, we see that the majority of the persons in our Hare Krishna movement are actively looking for Krishna prema. Whereas the majority of people in traditions that don't know anything about God can't be actively, consciously looking for that because they don't even know about it. But we do see that Krishna is not limited and that he can manifest himself by revelation. And we do find personalities in all the religions of the world who very clearly had realization of Krishna. I mean, Saint Teresa of Avila, who lived in Spain at the time of Mahaprabhu, definitely had a realization of Madhurya Bhav. I mean, I met a Buddhist who was doing Vipassana meditation for 20 years and had actually a vision of Krishna, and then came to the Hare Krishna movement. And he said that was most unexpected for him. He thought there wasn't any God. So, if someone is sincere in any tradition, Krishna is not limited by that. But definitely there's an advantage with being in a tradition where you clearly know where you're going. And for that, we really thank A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada.